Hi, I'm Rob, and in this Gems of War video, I'm going to take a look at what I think are my top 10 favourite mana generators. I'm going to change it from best mana generators to favourite mana generators, because it will vary upon team to team, and what you're doing, the best mana generator for a certain team will not be the best one for another one. That is literally going to change from team to team sometimes. So I'm also going to take into consideration a troop's abilities. If they explode gems or destroy gems and they have other elements of their spell, I'll be taking that into consideration too, as well as if they have any particularly useful traits, because it's all relevant to how usable a troop is. One thing to bear in mind is I am not going to include troops like this that transform or convert colours, because that is a different kettle of fish altogether, and usually these are only good at generating mana of a particular colour, like this one is good at generating yellow. So the only troops I'm interested in are the ones where we explode gems, we destroy gems of all different colours, charging up the entire team. For this reason, I'm not going to include troops like Chalcedony either. She's fantastic at getting brown, but again, it's mainly brown only. Anything that happens after that is by pure chance. So getting mana is really important in a team to get it quickly, so let's take a look at that list. Alright, so let's start off with a couple of troops which didn't quite make it into my top 10. It doesn't mean to say they're bad in any way, shape or form. It just means that for one reason or another, I think the other ones just had the slight edge. But as I said at the beginning, there are certain teams where these ones may indeed will be better. It all depends upon your circumstances and what you're doing with the game. Oh, and by the way, hang around, because in the top 5 there is a surprise entry, which is a really good mana generator, overlooked by almost everyone, and I'm amazed she doesn't get used more, given a bit of a clue there. But yeah, really good, and yeah, just gets overlooked. I don't know why. I've used her tons and she's awesome. But anyway, onto this one. Not quite squeezing into my top 10 is Harpy Mage. Starts battles with 75% mana, which is really good. So that puts you well on your way to getting that charge, just some red or yellow with a mana surge or a appropriate banner, and you're ready to cast. What I don't like about it is the fact that it conjures a dust storm. This doesn't use brown itself, so in a team that uses brown, that's what a dust storm is, it may be really good. So if the situations are right, this could obviously be perfect, but it's not perfect for all situations, which is why it doesn't quite squeeze into the top 10 for me. And the way its spell works as well, you choose an ally, then explode magic +1 gems of one of their mana colours. So if you cast it on yourself and there's, say, a lot of red there, you're going to get a lot of mana. If there's just 1 or 2 yellow and the game decides it's going to explode the yellow ones, not the red ones, you're not going to get much mana back. So it can be a bit hit and miss, can Harpy Mage, but again, certain situations might be absolutely amazing. Next one, not quite squeezing into the top 10. I've just gone past it. Did you know what it was? Egg Thief. Now this is a fantastic mana generator. It does destroy a lot of gems, and if you boost the gold, then obviously you're going to explode a lot more and end up exploding the whole board eventually. But the reason that doesn't quite squeeze into the top 10 is because in an ideal world, you normally have to run this with another troop, Greed, to boost up your gold first. So you basically need 2 troops to run this straight away, just to boost up that gold. Otherwise, you have to spend other turns and other rounds getting it boosted. But apart from that, it is superb. I do like it a lot. The fact that it cannot be targeted is a really good thing. And hey, fantastic mana generator. But this is a tough top 10. Any of these could be in any order, apart from the top 2, like I said, depending upon what situation you're doing. But yeah, fantastic troop nonetheless. So in 10th spot, this is the first of the top 10s. Who's it going to be? It is Ragnagord. Really good. Explodes magic +2 gems of a chosen colour, so that's good. You can actually choose the gem you want to explode. That is a plus point for it. And it starts battles with 50% mana, so can be a really good mana generator, but it doesn't do anything else apart from that. And it does start with 50%, and it uses 14, so you have to get it going first still. So that's the only thing going against it. If you don't start with some red and brown to get it going, then it could be a bit slow, but most of the times it is still pretty decent. So Ragnagord's still a really good mana generator. At number 9, who's it gonna be? It's nowhere near here. I'm actually winding you up. It's up here somewhere, and it is going to be Angry Mob. Destroys magic +1 random gems with full effect, and then either summons an Angry Mob or deals the same amount of damage as the gems you destroy to the first enemy. So the potential for summon as well, or a decent amount of damage, and it burns a random enemy at the same time as well. Another bonus is it's immune to silence. This lot cannot be shut up. They're going to cast their spell no matter what and become enraged when an enemy dies. So Angry Mob, pretty good. Then at number 8, who do we have next? Just gone past it. Yep, it's Marilith. Deals a set amount of true damage to all enemies, regardless of your magic level, then destroys a magic-based amount of gems and gains 6 attack. So similar to some other troops, the higher your magic, the more gems she's going to destroy. So when you're newer to the game, she's not going to be as effective, but the stronger you get, the stronger she gets. The traits are pretty bad, really, apart from the middle one, gain a bonus red mana from red gem matches. And the other one is, the first one is useless unless you're doing PvP, and the bottom one only comes into effect if you take damage. So they're not actually that great at all, but as a mana generator, she is actually pretty decent. Very good. Right, so 7th position, who's it gonna be? This is a troop, again, which I don't think gets as much attention as it maybe deserves, and it is a Trickster. When you think about this, this is not that far away from being just like Leprechaun. Explodes green gems, gets a lot of mana that way, but it has the massive added benefit of switching the first and last enemies, as well as start battles with 75% mana. And it uses 2 colours, uses purple and green, so normally a single match of them with that fast start, you're going to be absolutely ready to go. The fact that it switches the first and last enemies is what makes it absolutely superb in certain situations. Say you're up against one of those teams that has Leonis Tower in first place and is really hard and annoying to kill. Or something different, you got like a life and death or something in last place. You cast this guy really quickly, and then you can switch them around, generate loads of mana at the same time, and completely mess up the way the other team was intended to work. So really good, underrated, not used that often, but a absolutely superb troop. Into the top 6 now, and it's getting to the nitty gritty time, and really difficult to actually put these in any sort of order whatsoever. They may as well be all in the same place, some of these ones, but we have to split them up, so got to do the best we can. But the next one is, again, an underrated troop, I think, Bogstrider, only 8 mana cost. And this is really good in different ways as well. It's the all-round thing about this that I like. Destroys magic +1 gems, that is again with full effect, and entangles a random enemy. As well as that, it inflicts entangle when doing skull damage, as well as reducing damage from skulls by 33%. So this is really, really good against those teams that generate load of skulls, those book teams and things like that go mad on skulls. You can have this in first place, you can reduce damage from skulls by 1/3, and if you hit it once with any sort of skull match, you're going to entangle that troop as long as they're not impervious or immune to that, and it generates a load of mana at the same time, and only uses 8 mana cost. Very, very good indeed. Don't know whether it should be swapped with Trickster from 6th to 7th place. I was humming and hawing about that, but it's there now, and I'm not changing it. Now into the top 5 and the real nitty gritty, and a first surprise entry, which a lot of people will be surprised to see, but that's because I think she's just gone under the radar a bit, and not many people have realised how good she is. But Tuliao, really, really good. Choose a colour, enchant all allies of that colour, and give 6 mana to them, boosted by gems of that colour. So she is included because it is different from troops like Apothecary that can only generate 1 colour. They transform gems or convert gems, and Chalcedony, who just creates a brown. With this, you literally choose a colour, and if you've got all the same colour on your team, then they are going to get 6 mana straight away. So that's a guaranteed 24, boosted by gems of that colour at a 4:1 ratio. So say there's another 8 gems on the board, then that's going to be 8 to all allies. That's 32 mana actually gained of the colours that you actually wanted. As well as that, she enchants them all. So in her case, she's ready to do it again a couple of turns later. Really, really good. And another reason this is really, really good as well, she's immune to mana drain, silence, fairy fire, and mana burn. So she basically gets that mana and keeps it. And as well as that, this is really good when you kind of want to pass a turn. She doesn't actually destroy gems. she just chooses that colour and then does the rest of her spell without any adjustment to the board whatsoever. Really handy when you want to just sort of pass your turn but get a really good benefit from it at the same time. So in 4th place, who's it going to be? It's going to be someone that fiddles with stuff. But what does he fiddle with? It's strings. It's String Fiddler. Really, really good. Absolutely superb. Explodes 10 gems of an enemy's mana colour. So you can look at that, and in the same way as other troops, you have to sort of hope that it does explode the correct colours sometimes. Just have a look at what the enemy's colour is. Make sure there's enough of them gems around and you'll still get a load of mana back. But it's the extras that this gives that I absolutely love. Silences an enemy. The silence is a big deal. It is really good. A silenced troop cannot collect mana or cast spells. That is so, so good. And it gains an extra turn. And it summons a Leaf Storm at the start of battle. And it's immune to silence. So it's not going to be able to be stopped from doing it unless you get it cursed and then shut up like that way, or cast Essence of Evil on it or something. Really, really good. Can self-charge, because obviously it gets random mana and just do it all over again. String Fiddler, absolutely awesome. So into the top 3 now. Now I'm going to cheat slightly because there was a troop I nearly forgot about who was absolutely superb and cannot be missed. So I'm going to include 2 troops in the 3rd place, but lower of this tied 3rd place thing is going to be Fundingus. Explodes magic +1 purple gems, then summons either a giant toadstool or an explode stool and gains the extra turn. It's the extra turn which really makes this kind of thing, because that exploding those gems can either charge up itself if you're lucky, or can charge up other members of your team and take it from there. Nothing too special in the traits, but it's the extra turn which really makes that. So Fundingus, absolutely superb. Doesn't take that many purple on the screen in this case to actually generate a lot of mana. Sometimes you don't have to have the screen actually covered in them to get a load of mana. But the troop I nearly forgot, and she's absolutely magnificent, is Divinia. Now the cool thing about Divinia is she explodes all red gems. You notice with Fundingus it was magic +1. You could be a brand new player and get Divinia and you'll still explode all red gems, which is really, really cool. Generate absolutely loads of mana. But it's the extras. She cleanses all allies and gives them magic +1 life, and has 2 absolutely superb traits. Mana Shield, immune to Mana Burn, Mana Drain and Mana Steal, which pretty much means she gets her mana and keeps it. And Dragon's Blessing, cause a random positive status effect on a random ally on 4 or 5 gem matches. Absolutely superb, Divinia. And so we come to the top 2. Who's it going to be? There's 2 outstanding troops which haven't been mentioned yet, and I'm sure everybody knows exactly what they are, but which order are they in? Who is first and who is second? Well, I'm going to say that Thrall is the second best mana generator in the game. He is very common in a lot of teams, but the reason he's second is because he does destroy a lot of gems, but it is based on your magic level, so you do need to be a higher level player to get the most out of him. Basically, the more powerful you get in the game, the better and better Thrall becomes. It does take a bit of damage when you cast him, but you don't worry about that. It only takes 6 mana to get this thing going. That is absolutely superb. You can often just get a single purple match and you are good to go with that absolutely straight away. And also gains bonus purple from purple gem matches. So really good, absolutely superb at generating mana, but certainly better if you're a higher level player than a newer player. So we come to the number 1 spot, and who I think is the best mana generator in the game, all things considered. Now, it can only be one person really. There's only one little fella not been mentioned so far who really stands out, and it is of course Leprechaun. Really, really good. Starts battles with full mana, so ready to cast absolutely straight away. Explodes a decent amount of green gems exploded by his gold and gains 20 gold. So the cool thing about this is, even if you're a newer player to the game, you're still going to explode an okay amount of green gems, because you then get boosted by the gold because you gain 20 gold afterwards. So even if the first cast isn't magnificent, then the ones after that are going to get better and better. So really usable for all levels of player. And yeah, it gets bonus green as well, and so good. Only thing that can go wrong with it if there's not a lot of green on the board when you start the game, something like that, but it doesn't really happen that much. Now, I'm sure that there's some absolutely superb troops that I've missed out, that some people are going to be saying, oh my god, how could you not mention that person and that troop and them and things like that. But the fact is, there's so many good mana generators in this game that some people were going to be left out. They just had to be, because from a different player, depending upon your play style, you could have had my list maybe upside down, twisted roundabout, and in a completely different order. Every troop is good in their own way, depending upon what you're doing. Well, there's a team, there's a video. If you found it useful, helpful, any of that kind of stuff, then be sure to bash that like and subscribe button. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again next time. Bye for now.